Hey there, ghouls and ghosts. Welcome to 7 Scorpion Tarot. I am your host with the most, and I want to welcome you to tonight's reading. So tonight I want to do something a little bit different than I've done before on this channel. I'm going to borrow a spread from another reader. It's the backyardbanshee.com. I picked up a spread from. It's called WTF Mercury. So in the spirit of Mercury retrograde, I wanted to do something a little bit different, try and go with the flow, when in Rome, when things are a little bit wonky, going a little bit different, why not move with the tide rather than against the tide, kind of steer into the skid, as it were, a little bit. Because I know a lot of us might still be reeling from that big Plutonian shift. I know that was a lot for me, nonetheless, just other life stuff going on at the same time, which always seems to coincide with the celestial weather. It's so weird. But anyway, I felt like that was a really big transition, and then the Mercury retrograde was the 1-2 punch of the celestial bodies of like, hey, by the way, it's that time of year again. So, we all survived eclipse season to make it through the Pluto transition from Capricorn into Aquarius. And now we are in Mercury retrograde. Right in the beginning here of Sagittarius season. So actually quite a bit going on, because Mercury is also in Sagittarius. So Sun's in Sagittarius, Mercury's in Sagittarius. So a lot going on there with the Archer. There might be something significant going on in your Sagittarius placements. What is mine? Midheaven? I think that's right. Midheaven in the 11th house. Yeah, so it's my like vocation, public facing image, things like that. And then in the 11th house of those like interpersonal relationships. I think is that right for the 11th house? Let me check. I'm getting back in the groove, coming off of an on-call week. It's nice to like lay low during those weeks. Yeah, 11th house, technology, future, groups, and friends. So interesting emphasis there on technology and Pluto and Aquarius and future. And then in the, I want to say, first to second weeks of December, we've got Mars stationing retrograde in Leo, and then Neptune's going to station direct. I think right as Mercury stations direct, and then we have a full moon in Gemini. Busy stuff right over the holiday season. So let's see what's going on with Mercury. WTF. WTF indeed. So we've got 6 questions. And then our first card is it's going to be a significator. We're going to place the Magician in the center. I'm excited to try this from another reader. I guess I could have been sifting through this while I was blabbing. But whatever. Let's see. Magician. Makes me think of Heka, god of magic. I think that's correct for Egyptian mythology. And of course, Isis or Aset, one of the greatest magicians the world has ever known. Hermit. Emperor. Devil. Feels nice to be doing a reading again, though. I did a bunch of in-person readings at a Friendsgiving in a really noisy environment, and I felt like that kind of jarred my energy a little bit, but it was interesting because I've never read in that kind of environment before with all the background noise. Definitely prefer the calmer environment, but I really enjoyed the opportunity that I got to read for those folks. That was a lot of fun. So I hope, with the holiday coming up, that you guys are getting some time off, time with loved ones, friends, with your fur babies. Oh, here we go. The Magician. So let's see. Magician at the center. I know I have some feelings about Thanksgiving and, having a holiday that we express gratitude when the roots of it were smallpox blankets and taking land from native peoples. And then we turn around and celebrate the capitalist holy high holiday with cheap consumer electronics and textiles that are decimating the environment. Blah. It's so weird, like this season of thankfulness is one of the times that I really struggle the most to be thankful. I've been eyeballing my uh, gratitude jar that I had made over the autumn equinox. So the idea is that I write, what I'm grateful for on these little papers, fill it up over the year, and then the next autumn equinox, I'll harvest, all the things that I'm grateful for, and then I'm gonna put them in a separate, like a good mood jar, quote unquote, like something like that, something along those lines, so that anytime I'm like in a funk or whatever, then I can, pluck out one of those little pieces of paper and have a nice little moment, of a memory of something that I was grateful for. But it's something about this like specific time that I'm expected, I guess, to be thankful, that just, it really grinds my gears on how whitewashed history is and just the active denial of stuff. Get off my soapbox. It's nice to have this opportunity, though, to vent here, because as much as I would like to, fervently never yield, my positions and whatnot, I also don't want to bring down the time that I get to spend with folks while we have time off together. So it's kind of a conundrum, because we all only have this specific time off just because that's way like work and federal holidays are structured and blah blah blah. But man, what an ugly background to this holiday. And then the Black Friday right after it. Anyway, so we've got the Magician in the center, and then the first question, which is going to go above it, is going to be, what will I be able to have control over? My previous rant moments ago notwithstanding, that I can't control, the external environment around me. I can only control my feelings. Or maybe control is not the best word, but validate my feelings and give them space to be. Well, let's see. Will I have control over during Mercury retrograde, or what will I have influence over? What will we have influence over, rather? It's not just a reading for me. Let's see. Get some energy flowing here. A little staticky. Maybe I brought the vibe down. I always wonder, like, what's the balance between, venting and repression? That's always an interesting line to dance across. Oh, okay. There's another one that was thinking about it. We're going to go with the 3. This looks like 3 of Wands. Yep, 3 of Wands. And it came out sideways, so I'm going to read that as in motion. So 3 of Wands, a journey, or anticipating a journey, looking out to the horizon for like impending change. So maybe this is a change you have control over, because it's the 3 of Wands, so it's the idea. So ideas, will, creative fire. Potentially the thing that you have control over is the direction your ideas take you, because it's in motion. And the Magician is at the center, so that's your energy. So you're at the helm of this. I mean, the Magician, let's see. So I don't see it depicted in this card, but in many of the artworks of the Magician, you can see the symbols of all 4 suits of the wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. So that means the Magician is the master of all domains, of the spiritual, of the physical, of the emotional, of everything, of the mind. So being that ultimate manifester, maybe Mercury retrograde is bringing that to the forefront. That's kind of what I'm feeling. Because Mercury's in Sagittarius and wands are fire, so a fire sign. I feel like there's something else there. This could be you're taking things out of the realm of idea and putting things into motion, into action. That's something you have control over, of whether or not, you stew on an idea or disregard an idea or move forward with an idea. And that's, 3 options, the 3 of Wands. Interesting. Well, let's see. What's number 2? What should I just let go of for retrograde? Let's see. What do we need to let go of? Oop, almost. Not quite. Let's see. It's not quite right. My new little addition. New-ish. Sometimes kind of hard to see. That's 2. Oh, I'm going with it. I'm going to take 2 for position 2. So what do we need to let go of? Ooh, interesting. The 4 and the 2 of Cups. Apathy around connection. So maybe need to be more active in your connection. And that could be a connection to people, to your emotions as well, because this is Cups, so the suit of emotion. Because in many depictions, the caduceus is here in the background. So we have Mayette's feather, so divine justice, and the Ankh, eternal life. Apathy or disengagement regarding your principles. And potentially how much time you have. Not to be, doom and gloom, but I know I'm closer to 40 than I'm not. And that's, the middle-age zip code. And it's starting to kind of dawn on me that I'm not a kid anymore. The god-awful noises that my knees make now. That's... and particularly in regards to my diet, I can't just eat out of a trash can anymore, despite how much I'd like to. And I love fast food as much as the next person. But I'm very judicious now with the types of takeout that I get. That, yeah, I want, a cheeseburger or whatever, or even just beef, but it's not the best choice nutritionally for me. It might be fine for other people, but just, not for me. Um, I like to have it every once in a while, but now when I do have it, I'm really, really picky about what beef I have because I have it so infrequently. Uh, so when I want to scratch the fast food itch, I might get a vegetarian order from Taco Bell. It's so easy to swap the beef for like black beans. And I am not a fan of that weird, like, impossible meat stuff. Like, just give me black beans. I don't even want to do the like food like material. I want just plant protein, whatever. Like in its most natural form. And on other days, I have to check myself that, even if I'm having just a crap day or I'm too busy or just like out of mental or physical gas to cook whatever plant-based meal that I got up for myself at the grocery store, I just can't be bothered that day. I just try and make smart choices because I don't have the same amount of time that I used to. So rather than getting, you know, chicky nuggies and french fries from McDonald's, it's probably going to be like a vegan burrito bowl from Chipotle or a vegetarian curry from my local Thai spot, something like that. It's just making smart choices. I don't have to completely give up the conveniences that get me through my day, but I do need to make better choices and check my emotions too when I'm making those choices, particularly in regards to food. Because if I'm not having the best day, the thing that sounds really, really good is simple carbs, simple energy like that. So that's another like layer of conversation that I have to have with myself that like, no, we have to have healthy protein, healthy fats, stuff like that. And okay, if I want to get, a small side of fries or something, fine. You know, at some point, you have to let yourself indulge in the bad thing. It's just it becoming a regular thing that can become an issue. Yeah, so that Four of Cups, the apathy card, say letting go of things that don't heal you or aren't, I don't want to use the word like beneficial, that like you're only doing things that are self-serving, but things that are healthy for you. That is so, so important. especially during the retrogrades and all the socioeconomic stuff that's going on right now and political. Gotta take care of yourselves. Let's see. Number 3, what do I really need to be mindful of for this period? Let's find out. What do I need to be mindful of for retrograde? And this is Mercury retrograde, so communication, technology, travel, could be people from the past resurfacing, stuff like that. And I think I said this at the beginning, but the 15th is when it stations direct. And there's also the like the pre and post shadow, retrograde shadow, to be aware of too. Let's see. What do we need to be mindful of? Maybe we need to be mindful of food, since this is like the food holiday. And I was just jibber jabbering about food for a minute. What do we really need to be mindful for during this period? Oop, okay. Not quite sure how that came out, but I'm going reversed. Let's see. Who's this? Knave of Swords. So is that the page in this deck? I'll have to check. And the Chariot. There's a Knave Knight. Knave might be Knight. Nope, that's the page. So it goes Knave, Knight, Queen. Okay. So the Scribe of Mayet, Lawyer, Spy, Message and Code, Hostile Intention. Interesting. So this definitely seems very Mercury retrograde-esque with the message and code and it being reversed. Maybe there's someone just in your field that has some sort of ill intention that they intend to keep hidden, but since this is in the reversed, it's coming out unintentionally. Because it's like, you know, things go haywire, things go wonky during Mercury retrograde. So that could be being unintentionally found out. So it says for the Chariot, victory, by breaking down obstacles, he will defeat his enemies and face the future armed with daring, triumph, success, honor, ambition, and violence. So this is an obstacle that really is blocking the path because it came out in the reverse. I wonder, these could also be, might be able to view this as in the shadow of the magician, so the shadow of yourself. You might get into a heated argument and say something you don't intend that just cuts through, that it makes the situation worse, potentially. And as with any Mercury retrograde, or any time for that matter, doesn't need to be necessarily specific to now, but some additional emphasis might be prudent. Take pause. This might be like, Chariot in reverse might be saying pump the brakes before you say something cutting. I kind of want to clarify this. I want to know more. Third card for the third position. I really need to be mindful of. Where are you? The Lovers in reverse. Nope. So this looks like Osiris in the middle. So he's got the crown of Lower Egypt. So then the two women are likely Isis and Nephthys, her sister, Set's wife. And then interesting, Archer too, Sagittarius season. But that looks like Taurus there in the background. And then the moon too. And I mean the sun, that would be Leo. Interesting. And then there's a scarab. So rebirth cycle. Oh, but the Lovers, that would be typically Archangel Raphael depicted there. So a choice. A choice is blocked? Or maybe it feels like a choice is blocked? That might be what generates a potentially strong reaction because you're trying to maybe forge a path ahead. And then something gets in the way and maybe you react strongly to it, which makes the choice for you as to which path you end up going down. And Archangel Raphael is the healer. A blocked choice blocks healing. Maybe the other positions will lend some light, clarity. So position 4 is advice for travel for this period. So doesn't necessarily have to be literal travel. Could be. Advice for travel. The devil. So interesting. I don't know if this is like a dock that they're standing on. Kind of looks like it. But the squigglies in the water almost give it a motion. And there's an arrow pointing and moving forward. Or moving to the right, rather. And it almost looks like a little, like in the cartoons. I don't think the camera's going to pick that up. It's so light, but like little exacerbation steams. It's kind of what that looks like. Maybe there's travel that you don't want to partake in? Let's get one more. Travel. Advice for travel for this period. It could be something trying to hold you back, because the devil is Capricorn energy and Pluto just left Capricorn and went into Aquarius. So maybe this is energy that doesn't want to let go. That could kind of align with not having apathy in regards to making healthy choices. Because old patterns or addictions, and since like we talked about food a bit, sugar addiction is like definitely a thing. It hits the same reward centers in your brain as some drugs do, some really addictive drugs. And so maybe there's something that, like a temptation, that's trying to pull you backwards from the progress you've made. That could be the juncture here with the Chariot and the Knave of Swords and the Lovers, in like, are you going forwards or are you staying where you've been? I still want one more. Oh, and that new documentary on Netflix just came to mind. The Buy Now. That was interesting. Um, Upsetting. Like, definitely didn't enjoy some of that. Not sure why that just came to mind though. Maybe you're trying to break some bad spending habits. I know I've been trying to reevaluate, some of my staples, like candles, things like that, that I use regularly, that like disposables and stuff like that, that maybe I can snag from the thrift store or the dollar store if it's not available thrifting, just to make my practice more sustainable. So I've just been trying to evaluate, what can I do to kind of clean up my act a little bit? Uh, and it'll save me money, so it'll benefit me in that manner as well. And thrift stores are fun. They're just fun to go to. And so I know, like, with the price tags as low as they are, I'm going to have to be mindful of that temptation of, like, oh, it's only just a few dollars. And, I only just a few dollars myself into spending what I would have spent buying things brand new. So, maybe go and get my staples and then like plus one, one like random weird thing that, I got it because I just I had to have it. And then, you're getting something cool and unique. And that's kind of fun, of like a found item. Like, I found this, and God knows what decade it came from. And maybe you'll find like some sort of statement piece for your home or something like that. And then you're purchasing things that don't contribute to demand, but there is a need to recirculate them, from thrift stores. There's all sorts of ways to find like sustainable things you can do at home. There's I wish my skin wasn't so sensitive and I could get different, more greener products. My skin's really, really picky though. But, do what you can. Like, even if you can't do every single little thing, you can still do something. Like, one of the things I'll be on the lookout for at thrift stores would be like jars and bottles and stuff. So I want to make some like infused honeys and syrups, like elderberry syrups and stuff like that. And I don't want to buy like a whole freaking pack of glass bottles. Like, I only want a couple. Come on. Let's see. That didn't quite work. Or maybe we just don't need to elaborate on that position. Maybe that's why nothing's coming out. Let's go to position 5. So, advice for communication and how I can be clearer. Let's see. Advice for communication and how I can be clearer. Nine of Pentacles. The Independence card. Trust thyself? That's just what's coming to mind. It's how you can be clearer is to have confidence in what you're saying. I'm going to take those two car honks as confirmation. So have more confidence in what you're saying. And maybe, because I know, in the past when I've tried to give up, well, not tried, but have successfully given up, like cigarettes and alcohol, things like that, like bad habits and whatnot. Not everybody respects your changes. Not everybody respects your choices. There is a former friend of mine that at the time I was taking a medication that it just didn't react well with alcohol. Like, not like you technically could drink on it. Like, it wasn't like antibiotics where it's like, like you really shouldn't. It was just like it doesn't do your mood any favors. Anyway, thank you, car horn. I don't know if you guys can hear that. But he knew I was not drinking because I was taking this medication. And still would like offer me drinks. And when I would decline, would be like, oh, just try it. Like, it's just a sip. And like, yeah, I wasn't drinking simply for medication, not because I was struggling with any type of, substance abuse issues. But what if I was and I hadn't shared that? Maybe, like, what if I was living in shame about my addiction and I was using the medication as an excuse, and then someone who supposedly respects me, who would use those words that, like, I support you, they want to see me healthy, blah blah blah, didn't take no for an answer when I was like, no thank you. And he would say, oh, it's just one sip. If I was struggling with an addiction in silence, which many people do, no shame. It's that, oh, there's psychology words for this, like the progression, like whatever. that could have thrown me into a full relapse because someone who supposedly respects me didn't take no for an answer. And I know I am the only person who's responsible for my boundaries, independence card. However, comma, people need to act right. And I'm getting real tired of being the one expected to educate grown men on how to read the room and how to interact with people. You're grown. Figure it out. And I know that's not exclusive to men. There are plenty of women, and I'm sure they thems as well. This applies to everybody. Of man, that car horn really just threw me completely off. What was I saying? Squirrel? Maybe I was getting too in my feelings. And that was supposed to pull me out of it. But yeah, getting tired of teaching people how to read the room. Like, it's not just men that do that, but there seems to be this like unique expectation of like men aren't expected to be aware of their behavior until someone spells it out for them. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out why we keep doing this to ourselves. Like, why do we keep coddling them? And I don't want to be insensitive to anybody who's in, a powerless situation that they truly have no recourse in being able to, push back against people. But I'm real fed up. And I don't know if it's the existential environment of things that are going on, but I'm just sick of it, of being the one expected to carry the burden. And the lack of reciprocal effort, the lack of accountability, and just we hold such low standards for men in particular, not exclusively, in particular. And see, I'm doing it right now. I'm coddling. I don't want to offend them. Screw you guys. Offense intended. Um, uh, it just, I don't know, man. I don't know if something about the way things have gone in the world recently are waking up this fed up part of me, but I don't know. I could ramble about this for a while. Not that I don't have the right to do so. It just, maybe I got some stuff on my mind with the holiday and environments and whatnot. Maybe that's Mercury retrograde for you. It's just trudging up some stuff from the depths. So let's see for the final position here. Advice for technology and how it will impact me. Let's see. Advice for technology and how it will impact me or us. Maybe I'm a little me-centric in this reading and what I'm hooting and hollering about, because it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've done a reading like this, and these are nice. They help me work through stuff, not only try and connect into the ambient energy, but just kind of process, kind of sift through the feels of the outside world and the internal world. Might need to keep that in mind for my next break. Try to keep it a little shorter next time. Let's see. Advice for technology. Advice. Going with that one. 10 of Cups. Interesting. So the culmination of emotions. Oh, and there's the feather and the Ankh again. Where were you? Oh, you went over here. In the 2 of Cups. So the 2 to the 10. So we're letting go of something that's connected to technology. I think I have this backwards. So the advice for the technology and how it will impact me is connected to something you're letting go of. And that leads to much happiness, great success, whatever that looks like for you. Wait, I'm trying to wrap my brain around that. So the advice for the technologies connected. Something to do with technology. Oh, maybe. Because in the Rider-Waite, the 4 of Cups, it's like the individual on the card is sitting under the tree looking at the 3 of Cups, and then the 4th is presented from the sky from the hand of God. So maybe there's some sort of like epiphany that's coming through technology that is going to be like, this is the thing you need to stop being apathetic about, or this is the thing that you need to let go of. And that could be, the end of apathy, that you're coming to some sort of conclusion that you need to make steps towards letting go of something. Now, entertainment purposes only, disclaimer. It is also, again, Mercury retrograde. So take pause before making a choice and maybe get back to it after the 15th. Like, unless it's really, really pressing, like you're coming up on like a specific deadline for some reason that really can't be put off and truly cannot be put off. Not like the car salesman that is like, oh, if you don't buy this, blah, 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 then it's definitely not going to be on the lot by like tomorrow afternoon. Like, you definitely need to move on this now. Anything that generates that sense of urgency, be cautious of. So I feel like that's got like Mercury retrograde vibes all over it. Anything that has that, like, yeah, that like you got to buy it before close of business. You can't review this contract or sleep on this contract overnight. Like, that's a lemon. Or at least has an extremely high likelihood of being a lemon. This was interesting. This was fun. Thanks, backyardbanshee.com. Let's get, let's see. What do I want to do? Ooh, why am I freezing so much? Let's start here. Let me get a symbol. Maybe something to meditate on over the retrograde period. Something that might see us through. Oh. Oh, who's in the bottom? Protection. Oh yeah, right as I light incense. More. It's a cool card. All right, let's see. Yeah, this is definitely different for me. I like to go with more of the like intuitive route. It's just my style. But I like trying something different and trying to stretch those muscles a bit. Finding different ways to do things, different ways to think about the cards. And again, this spread was called WTF Mercury. Backyardbanshee.com. Oh, here we go. Soulmate 49, or a 13. It's going to combine 2 or 4. Soulmate. Interesting that would come up during retrograde. And we do have the Lovers here. And I read this as a choice, not necessarily as an individual. And I like that the art is like, it looks like reversible. So let's see what the book says. Soulmate. A significant partnership, soul connection, and the meeting of kindred spirits. Drawing this card means you have met a soul-connected relationship. While this can indicate a romantic connection, it can also signify any relationship meant to work together on a soul level. This partnership is special. Learn from each other, be good to each other, and be in gratitude for the connection. Even our perceived adversaries are profound soulmate connections. You can always draw another card for clarity around the purpose of your connection. Meditate on this symbol when you want to connect on a deeper soul level with friends, family, or companions. It can also be used to call in a soulmate relationship. So the symbol is called the Anamkara. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, and I should be able to because it's Gaelic. Anamkara. An old Gaelic term for soul friend. Interesting. I'm going to go for another, and from that deck too. So, there's something lingering. Oop. Power. 10. And very fitting, being the solar crown, like Hathor's. Power. Let's see also what the book says. 46. You are powerful, you are worthy, you are sovereign. It is time to remember your worth. Drawing this card invites you to take your place in the starring role of your life. There is no need to play small here. You are being granted permission to display your strengths for all to see at this time. It does no service for you to hide your gifts. Drawing this card can also indicate that it is time for you to call your power back from any situation where it may have been taken or given away. The symbol, the Isis crown. So the crown of Isis, and sometimes the crown of Hathor, is made up of the sun disk cradled in cow's horns. The sun and the cow were both worshipped in ancient Egypt as symbols of the different but equal powers of the feminine and masculine. Interesting. The Eye of Ra myth is coming to mind right now in regards to Hathor, as Hathor is the benevolent form of Sekhmet. And the description of soulmate mentioned that this could be like adversarial too, I think is what it said. Is that right? Yeah, perceived adversaries. Perceived or actual. I'm adding in the actual. Um, hmm. And I would say, since you've got the manifester there at the center of the reading, be cautious of how you wield your power. Maybe a soulmate, a soul friend will see the power in you. And that independent speech might bring your power forward. And in the Ten of Cups, in that Rider-Waite depiction, it's a depiction of family. So maybe something just to chew on. I think we're getting into the point of, and certainly I'm sure on time, this is now left up to individual meaning of any of the details, devil's in the details, will be left up to you to determine, how these cards fit, where they fit in your timeline, you know, how they apply within either this retrograde period or any others, either upcoming or previous, because, we're all on our own paths. And maybe this is all just a fever dream, and an idea, a worry, a something or other that may not come to fruition, may not come to pass. That's the interesting part about Mercury retrograde, is seeing how it manifests and seeing how it expresses itself. But I'm going to leave this one here. We covered a lot, and I think this was a good time, trying out a spread of another reader and making lend of their creativity. So this was fun, and I hope this resonates, and I hope this helps. And if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.